Week 5 is on the way. In week 4, we took some dubs, we took some L's, but bye week is here. This is where we really got to start locking in, regardless of your record 4-0, 0-4, 2-2. This is where the real players step up. And I'm not a real player, but I'm going to act like I am, and I'm going to act like I'm going to give you league-winning advice. Just kidding, unless. But no, for real, bye weeks are happening. This is when we got to lock in. Injuries are happening. Are people coming off IR? Are they playing? Are they not? So on, so forth. Enough yapping already. Talking too much. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, give us a like, give us a sub, give us some love, show us support. Let's get into the running backs first. Last week, 1 W I will take a victory lap on was Josh Jacobs. He's been ass, but in week 4, I said, this is it. This is his time to bounce back, and he cooked. He put up a touchdown. He went 8 for 80 through the air. If you're playing in a standard league, doesn't benefit as much. If you're playing in a standard league, what are you doing anyways? But this week, I think he keeps it up. He plays the Packers. The Packers give up the 5th most fantasy points to running backs. The ball keeps rolling for Josh Jacobs. Right behind him, though, I do want to talk about David Montgomery. Monty is RB6 for me this week, and I think he's a top 10 running back the rest of the season. He's RB6 on the season, and he's only played in 3 games. I really thought heading into the season it'd be too simple to say, oh, he's the new Jamal Williams. Nope. It wasn't too simple. I was overthinking. He is the new Jamal Williams, but might be better. He might go for over 1,000. He might go for over 17 touchdowns. He's well on pace to let Monty cook for the rest of the year. Let's start getting to some juicy parts, some bold parts. Aaron Jones first up. I have him 6 spots higher than the experts. Look, our sample size on Aaron Jones is pretty booty. Week 1, he was the RB1. Week 4, he was dog. And I mean dog. In week 4, the Lions got up on the Packers quickly. They had to abandon the run game. I'm not sitting here defending Jones, but I'm sitting here defending Jones. I've been high on him all offseason. I'm not going to change that opinion off of one game. He gets to play the Raiders this week, who give up the 11th most fantasy points to running backs. We clearly see he's got RB1 potential in him. Let him keep cooking. He's a must start easily, and he's an RB1 for me. After that, let's get to the hottest man in the NFL right now, Achane. He's officially on that fringe RB1 range. I might even be low on him. No matter what, you're starting him, okay? Gets to play the Giants, who are probably going to get their freaking ass beat against Miami. He might get in the end zone once, twice, thrice. Who knows? But I do think he's a speedster that is taking over this backfield. And I'll go ahead and just skip to Mostert. I do want to talk about a guy in between them, but Mostert, I will note here, this is not a sell high, buy low video, but I would sell Mostert if you can. Achane's taking over, like I said. Jeff Wilson's coming back sooner rather than later. Mostert this week will still be serviceable against the Giants, running up the score on them. Maybe he gets one of the goal line touches. Maybe he gets in the end zone, takes one from Achane. I think they're both startable this week, but I do worry about Raheem Mostert's shelf life the rest of the way. Back into the middle of the pack, we skipped over a guy that needs to be discussed. Breece Hall in the middle of the teens. I have him 3 spots higher than the experts. If there's a time to start Breece Hall, it's right now. The Denver Broncos give up the most fantasy points to running backs, and Robert Saleh came out and said he's no longer on a snap count. Do I believe that? I don't know. Coaches are shady. They don't always tell the exact truth, but this is the best matchup he's going to get. And in week 1, we did see a preview of what he can really do. If they gave him some roles to eat, he's going to produce, and he's going to cook up a 5-course for your fantasy team. I think with a little bit of beef New York and Denver has as well, this could be a fun game to watch. And Breece Hall is flirting with that RB1 range this week. I'm keeping him in the RB2 spot. Let's talk about the Colts for a little bit. Look, I don't know. I think it's a little weird for all offseason Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay to just have crazy beef on Twitter, back and forth. JT asking to be traded, and now he's off IR week 5. Apparently they're kissed and made up. I think that the apologies and willing to play just came out of nowhere. It's a little odd to me. We'll see if he actually suits up for week 5. But if he does, he's above where you see him on the graphics. He's above that cusp of RB2. He's probably top 18. It's Jonathan Taylor. Look, I don't care if he's rusty. With AR, this is going to be a crazy, efficient rushing offense, and JT is JT. If he doesn't play, the ranking you see for Zach Moss being right on that cusp of RB2, that's where he would belong. Again, if JT's out, Zach Moss startable. If JT's in, Zach Moss no longer startable. JT must start. One more guy right around them, Rhamondre Stevenson. He's been very disappointing this season, and now he has to face the Saints, who allow the 8th fewest fantasy points to running back. So not the good matchup. But I'm telling you right now, this is a sit of the week pretty much for Stevenson. You don't really want to play him unless you need to. I really like you to buy him after this weekend, because Stevenson is still top 8 in touches. Volume is king, and Stevenson gets it. This Patriots offense has been dog shit top to bottom, through the passing game, through the run game, whatever you want to call it. They've been shit. Are they going to get much better than that? No, but I do expect a little bit of positive regression to happen over the season, where the schedule gets a tiny bit easier. Stevenson, I really like as a buy low in your upcoming weeks. Two more guys, both the Pittsburgh boys. I think if Kenny Pickett is out and Mitch Trubisky's in, both these guys might be relied on a little bit more for the Steelers. Baltimore, obviously you're not going to beat them through the passing game of Mitch Trubisky, but they might try and lean on Najee Harris. They might try and lean on Jalen Warren. And yes, I have Warren over Najee Harris at this point, and so do the experts. So you can't argue at all against that. That's what pretty much me and 500 other experts believe and think so. Warren, at this point, looks more explosive, and he's got hell of a more receiving upside than Najee. One last guy, Jaleel McLaughlin. If Javonte's out, you need a running back. Jaleel's your guy. That's probably why you picked him up off of waivers. But if Javonte somehow miraculously plays, do not touch Jaleel. Simple as that. One last thing before I move to the wide receivers. If you need any of these rankings updated to the very hour, minute, second, or moment that some news drops, or maybe I didn't answer a question in this video that you have, you could go to bdge.co to find the full updated rankings. I got top 50 running backs, top 70 wide receivers, everything, quarterbacks, tight ends, top to bottom, if you want the exact precise rankings up to the very moment. But let's go on to the wide receivers. What do we got? Let's just address the big dog right up there. Is Puka Nacua that good? Like, we all love Puka, but is he top 3? You ask me, in week 5, apparently so. How did I come to this conclusion? Delusion, drugs, blindness, I don't know, excitement. But I think if Cooper Kupp is still out, and I do think he will miss one more week, you could see Kupp sitting behind him and a little over his shoulder, he's peeking. I think if Kupp is out, Puka's been top 9 in 3 of the 4 games this season. And now he plays the Eagles, who give the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. Math adds up. Now, if Kupp somehow does play, yes, Puka is still startable. He's still probably within the top 30, and Kupp top 10. I mean, if he's on the field, you're starting no matter what. I think both of these are startable if he's in. It's just, obviously, Puka's not top 3 anymore. Next wide receiver, I'm still fading Ceedee Lamb. Said it last week. I was right last week. Just took another victory lap. Trust me, I'm well aware I get a lot wrong too, so I'm not completely full of myself. We're staying humble here. Ceedee Lamb, I have him 6 spots lower than the experts. And the reason is because every week the experts put Ceedee top 10. 4 weeks into the season, he's been top 10 once. And to be exact, it was number 10. I see people putting at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 every single week, and he's yet to do that a single time. Now he's got to play the Niners, one of the best defenses in the NFL. I'm all good. He's still a fringe wide receiver 1. Don't get me wrong. You're starting no matter what, but he's not this top 10 alpha lock like that people make it seem like. Let's get on to one of the hottest players in the NFL, though, Nico Collins. Top 15, and I think he's here to stay. Look, he's wide receiver 5 on the season. So, I mean, if anything, I might be low on him. This Texans offense can move the ball. I don't know what I was thinking this offseason. I don't know what you were thinking this offseason, but I thought they were going to be pretty bad. Apparently not. Still don't think this team's a playoff team by any means, but when it comes to being efficient, not too half bad at it, and Nico's done this week in and week out. And yes, he had a dud week, and I mean dud, in week 3, but that just goes to show he could have his down weeks and still produce as a top 5 wide receiver. He's a must start week in, week out. Duds happen for everyone. Right behind him, Christian Watson, who I have 10 spots higher than the experts. I love C. Watt, and you could argue if it weren't for that touchdown he had in week 4, it would have been a rough night. He would have had like around less than 5 points for you. He was in limited snaps, but when he did play, he saw 20% of targets per route run. Now, Christian Watson gets a long week of rest. He's going from Thursday night football to Monday night football. He's getting ramped up more and more. They didn't rush him back, and now he's got the extra rest. He is cooking in week 5 versus the Raiders, who ain't stopping shit. Trust me, C-Watt is here for a reason. You drafted him for a reason. One guy I just wanted to shout out real quick is Hollywood Brown. I've been disrespecting him, and I do think his numbers might be a little inflated because of how many touchdowns he's been getting, but I can't take that away from him. If you score, you score. He's wide receiver 18 on the season. The Bengals defense is the only thing that's actually consistent and solid right now, but kind of like the Texans, this Cardinals team might not be as horrible as we all thought. Another guy I want to mention real quick, George Pickens. I thought I was high on him for keeping him in that, flex play, top 24 range without Kenny Pickett, with the Kenny Pickett situation in the air, whatever. Me and the expert consensus has him at the same exact spot, so I'm not budging. I'm not defending. That's how it is. Let's get into that flex play range of what do I do? Who do I start in that Tank Dell, Tutu, Addison, Thielen, D-Hop, blah, 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 blah spots. Tutu Atwell is for the first time making my list this season of the top 35. Shout out to Gut, who's editing this video. That is Gut's boy. Look, Tutu has seen 9 targets in 3 straight games. Said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'll say it the rest of the way. Volume is king, and the dude is getting lots of it. Now, in week 4 of those 9 targets, he only turned it into 5 receptions and 24 yards. Ouch. That's not very good, especially if you're in like a half PPR league. Those 7 points, not even like 5, not the best. However, duds happen for everyone. Against the Eagles, who I mentioned earlier about Puka, give out the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. Stafford and this Rams team passed more than any other team in the NFL. Let Tutu do his thing. And again, this is if Kupp is out. If Kupp plays, Tutu's he's taking some steps back. I probably wouldn't touch him this week if Kupp is in. Next guy, a few swaps behind him, Adam Thielen. This is another volume play. He's gotten 8+ targets in the past 3 games. Whether it was with Bryce Young, whether it was with Andy Dalton, he's been the wide receiver 1 of this Carolina Panthers offense. Has it been a good offense? No. Do we care? No. We care about fantasy points. Last guy I want to talk about, Nick's boy, the boss man. Deserves a shout out because he made the list for the first time this season, Michael Wilson. I think the Cardinals have found one of their future gems. He's really the only guy on this team that has any size, between Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch. All those boys are like 6 foot, speedy, and under. Michael Wilson, he's got some size to him, 6'2", about 200. And last week he went 7 for 72 with 2 tutties. Clearly he's getting the work. Clearly he's getting a role. And he's earning himself a spot in the Arizona Cardinals offense and a spot on my top 35 list. And I wouldn't mind throwing him in at the flex this week. These are the rankings as of this moment as you are watching, because there's a few things we don't know about. Cooper Kupp, JT, Saquon. One guy I forgot to mention earlier, Saquon. If he starts, he's a top 10, top 8 play. I forgot to acknowledge him earlier, but I don't think you would have sat Saquon Barkley if he was healthy. All right. So I don't think that's any rocket science. Saquon's good. For any update news around Saquon, Kupp, JT, anyone else, the updated rankings to the very second minute we found at bdge.co. If you have any questions, hit us up in the Discord, hit us up in the comments. I will be around answering your start-sit questions. Week 5, bye week have begun. Let's cook. If you're new to the channel, or if you're a long-time lover, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a sub. Say goodbye to the dinosaurs. Shout them out one last time. Nick got them for me. I don't know what's his thing with toys, but ladies and gentlemen, as always, and of course, thank you and good night.